Elasticity and its application. What elasticity means, you heard the word elastic. You can pull it apart easily. Inelastic is hard to pull it apart. But what is the application here for economics? It measures the responsiveness of quantity demanded or supply to a change in any of those determinants of supply or demand curves. First, we're going to start with the price elasticity of demand, which means how much the quantity demanded of a good responds to a changes in the price of that good for consumers. If we change the price, we're going to see how consumers going to respond to that change of that price. Is it in a big way, which is elastic, or it is not and inelastic? How do we measure it mathematically? Price elasticity of demand, percentage changes in quantity demanded divided by percentage changes in price. Then elastic demand, quantity demanded responds substantially to changes in the price, and vice versa. Inelastic demand, quantity demanded responds only to changes in the price. Let me just draw some in here for you. Okay. If this is our supply demand curve, which usually put the price on vertical and quantity on horizontal, right? Okay. Then we want to see if, for example, price is here and quantity demanded is going to land in here. If the price goes up to here, how responsive are they, these buyers or demanders, to the change of this price? And how we're going to measure it? We're going to put the percentage changes of quantity divided by percentage changes of price, and it gives us the elasticity. If it comes to 1, we say, okay, between these 2 points, demand curve is unit elastic. Is bigger than 1, like this case here, you notice the quantity is larger than price change. Then we say, well, the demand curve between these 2 points are elastic. And if just like this curve, which is more steps, okay, and the price changes to P2, see, the quantity does not change as much, or consumers don't respond as big as the first scenario. Then we say this demand curve between those 2 points for this curve is inelastic. We're going to go through all that, how to measure it, okay? Determinants of price elasticity of demand is substitution. If the good has a close substitute, that is going to be more elastic because people can switch easily to other products like Coke and Pepsi. Necessity versus luxuries. Luxury items, the prices goes up, people don't have to have it. They respond in a big way, which make it elastic curve. Necessities like medicine, groceries, they be less elastic. People have no choice if the price of insulin goes up, for example. Determinants of price elasticity of demand. We know the definition of the market. Narrowly defined markets are more elastic, okay, like grocery store, which is broad, versus like chicken or turkey meat. Time horizon. Demand is more elastic over long time rather than short term. Long term, people have time to adjust to the price changes, and that make it more elastic. In a short time, if the gasoline goes up, we're stuck in there. We don't have much time to respond to the quantity changes. Okay, we have to go to work, we have to go, school and so on. Then we don't have that much time in the short run. Then it would be inelastic. How do we compute the elasticity? Percentage changes in quantity demanded divided by percentage changes in price. Use absolute value for demand curve. Drop the minus sign. And we can use this midpoint formula here. Between those 2 points, P1 and Q1, can draw one here. Okay, let's say this is the demand curve. P1, you got Q1 quantity. If the price goes up to Q2, let's say the quantity demanded, it will drop to Q2. Then you have 4 points here, okay? And you can plug it in here and calculate the price elasticity of demand using midpoint. All right. Let's go here. We got variety of demand curves. Demand curve is elastic. When we calculate it, it comes greater than 1. Is inelastic, we call it, if the price elasticity of demand became less than 1. And if it's 1, we call that demand curve on those 2 points unit elastic. Therefore, the flatter the demand curve, the greater the price elasticity. These 2 panels shows those 2 different type of demand curve. One is vertical, which means quantity is not very sensitive to the price change, which means people gotta have this commodity no matter how much is the price. And then panel B, that part of the demand curve is more price inelastic. All right. And this panel here shows that unit 1 elasticity of price demand curve between those 2 points, which is if the price goes up 22%, quantity demand of that good drop 22%. 22 divided by 22 equal to 1. And we say between these 2 points, this demand curve is unit price elastic. And these 2 panels shows more flat demand curve. On panel 1, percentage changes in quantity is greater than the percentage changes of the price, which is 67% divided by 22%. It's going to be about 3. Then price elasticity demand is greater than 1. Then we say between these 2 points, demand curve is price elastic. And panel E shows perfectly elastic demand. elasticity of demand is infinity, which means that any price above 4, quantity demanded for this good is 0. Everybody going to switch to the substitute product, perfectly substitute. And as at the price $4, anybody wants and able to buy this product, they can do it. If the price goes below 3, then everybody else switch to this product from all other products that it has substitute. What is the relation between total revenue and price elasticity? Well, we know total revenue is equal to price multiplied by Q. The amount paid by buyers received by sellers of the good, and price of the good times quantity sold will be equal to total revenue. For a price increase, if the demand is inelastic, total revenue increases. If demand is elastic, total revenue decreases. Well, we're going to show this in the graph. Let's say price is $4, 100 unit is sold and bought, and total revenue made by these producers is P multiplied by Q, which is 4 multiplied by 100, they give us $400. As you see, this demand curve is more flat, which means more inelastic. Then if for some reason the price goes up, okay, total revenue will decrease. Well, in this case here, the demand curve between these 2 points are more steep, which is inelastic. If the price goes up to 5, quantity will shrink to 90. Then revenue, which is P plus multiply Q, would be 4 times 90 equal to 350, which if the producers raise the price, actually her total revenue is going to decrease. Okay, let's look at another scenario here. That was the one we were talking about before. When the price is 400 units is sold and bought. When the price goes to 5, goes to 5, now 90 units is for sold, or 70 units, okay? Then 5 times 70 is going to be 350. This is the case, the revenue, total revenue will decrease if the manufacturers raise the price. All right, then this we talked about it before. Then we say demand is inelastic, price inelastic if it's less than 1, and it's elastic when it's greater than 1, and unit elastic is equal to 0. How about the linear curve? Let's assume demand curve is linear, constant slope. The slope is the same, but elasticity is not the same. The higher price, okay, has a higher elasticity. When we drop from lower price, okay, is going to be lower elasticity. Different price elasticity. Inelastic demand points with the low price and high quantity, which is here, inelastic. And elastic demand points with the high price and lower quantity. Why is that so? Let's look at tape here. Well, this is a good example. When merchandiser, they introduce new product, like when the season change, all these apparel, clothes making manufacturers bring their items to the mall, they usually put the higher price. And those who can afford and able to buy it, they come in. And as they lower the price, more people will come in. Okay, which means elastic demand curve. As they go to the end of the season, the price is already low. They want to get rid of all the merchandise. They get advantage of all those people can afford it and able to buy it at the end, and would be very inelastic. Okay, one way to look at it. And this table shows the linear demand curve elasticity at different prices. You see, as the high price, this is the price, this column, this is the quantity bought and sold, this is the total revenue, this column is percentage changes in the price, okay, from here to here, 15%. This column here is the percentage changes in quantity from here to here, just 200% divided by 15%, very elastic demand curve when the price is high and quantity is low. Then when we get to the bottom, it would be very inelastic. Okay. Check this table here. How about income elasticity of demand? So far we've studied the price elasticity of demand. How about we want to see how consumers respond buying a products in regard to changes in their income. Okay, again, what we do, we use the same formula, percentage changes in quantity demanded divided by percentage changes of their income. If you recall, we call the goods normal if this elasticity is positive. The positive demand elasticity, we call it normal good, and negative income elasticity, we call it inferior good. Normal good, necessities, smaller income elasticities, luxuries, large income elasticities. If you win a lotto, make a lot of money, what you going to do? What you going to buy? Well, you're going to go buy luxury items, yachts, Lamborghini, and expensive cars. So much you can spend on grocery, milk, and bread, and so on. So those are necessities, but you can't have more than 2 loaves of bread a day or so. Okay. How about cross elasticity of demand curve, which means how much the quantity demanded of one good respond to the changes of the price of the other good. Remember, we talk about substitute goods, complementary goods. The percentage changes in quantity demanded of first good divided by percentage changes the price of the second good. Now, for substitute goods, we have positive cross price elasticity, which means if the price of Coke goes up, the demand for Pepsi goes up. Okay, they can substitute. For complement, it's the other way around. Goods that are typically used together, negative cross elasticity, price elasticity. All right, let's stop here. Then we're going to talk about elasticity of the supply on the other video.